My husband walked into my hospital room the morning after our son was born. He didn't bring flowers. He brought his lawyer. Divorce papers. My name already printed on top. Then they took my baby out the door. 6 years married. Over in one appointment. The next time we met, I owned the country he was standing in. And I was already someone else's. His grandfather nearly died when he heard who, because they never knew who they'd divorced. This is how I let them lose me. Rewind. 9 hours after I gave birth. I was still bleeding when they wheeled me in. I thought the footsteps in the hall were his. They were. He hadn't visited once in 9 months. His lawyer walked in first. That should have told me. Papers hit my blanket before he said a word. I asked why, softly, like a wife still does. I begged. Once. I'll admit it. He didn't even look at me. His lawyer answered instead, coldly, like this was routine paperwork. The child stays with the father. That's the sentence that killed the girl I used to be. I lunged for my baby. I bit my knuckle until it bled. Then I signed, screaming. Fast forward. A different sky. An estate he'd have needed permission to enter. Staff lined up before I even landed. My rotors kicking up their neat little bows. I stepped down in heels he'd never seen me wear. Home. My home. The one he never knew existed. A maid knelt with my crystals. Welcome back, Miss Rachel Xia. My driveway had its own screen. My robotics division was up 18%. A stranger on a jumbotron was welcoming me back. Turns out, the world had been waiting for me. Suitor number 1 showed up with a truck of roses. And a parachute. I'm not making that up. I didn't turn around. Because there was a line. An actual line of men waiting for a no. A neighbor waved a fan and offered congratulations. A divorce should be celebrated, she smiled. Apparently mine was the event of the season. I didn't have anything to say to that. Because online, I was already a business. Handsome men. Farm animals. Millions of views. How do you film with so many hot guys? You'll notice none of them were Bernard. Inside, in a room he could never afford, I let the maids do their work. Then, someone tapped my shoulder. Big sister, put down the lipstick. She showed me a comment. Someone had crossed a line. Someone had said something about my son. I stared at myself in the mirror a long time. Fine, let's play. My sister told me not to overdo it. I don't do overdo. I do finished. Meanwhile, a very different party. His new fiancé, his new cameras, his new life. When's the wedding? She asked. Loud enough for the mics. The photographers were still whispering about her dress. Then my car pulled up. And every whisper stopped. Is that? I walked past his big night like it was a bus stop. His whole spectacle became a footnote for mine. An officer I'd never met pulled me up on his tablet, then left the room to come find me himself. That night there was a concert. For the Queen. They asked me to sing. A trembling girl greeted me backstage. Miss Shia, a pleasure. She forgot how to speak. In the crowd, a man was smirking with his date. They didn't know yet who they were laughing at. The girl beside me was already in love. Now, you want to know the best part? Bernard's new woman? The one he chose over me? Turns out she preferred women. On stage. Live. In front of his whole family. He blew up our marriage for a girl who never wanted him. Somewhere out there, a friend was texting him the clip. And me, I was already at the next event, watching my face beat his across every screen. That's when I noticed him. A blonde man, buried in roses like a wedding cake. The whole room dumb over his cheekbones. Even the men were covering their eyes. He introduced himself with a finger to his lips. Soft, polite, unsure of himself. I watched him on my phone all the way home. Too eager. Too perfect. Someone wanted him near me. My assistant thought he was harmless. Meanwhile, someone else was flying my way. A man I'd never met, with a plan he wouldn't share. His son crying quietly in his lap. His guards standing at attention. Back at the concert, a fan was still shouting my name. The host was still trembling into her microphone. And me, I walked onto the stage. They wanted to know why I hid my face online. Why the mystery, Miss Shia? The comments answered for them. Fame hungry. Fake. I said it simply. I show up when I feel like showing up. The host laughed, nervously. The mockery in the front row went very quiet. A plane climbing. A man deciding. His child still crying. His butler making stupid finger hearts to cheer him up. Later that night, I walked back through my own hallway. A hand caught my waist from the shadow. Bernard. In my house. Uninvited. You don't get to walk away from me, he said. He grabbed my wrist. His hand still had the ring line on it. He tried to slide a necklace onto my neck. I threw it at his feet. Another hand caught mine first, and swung a book straight into his face. Bernard flew down my hallway, landed with a mouthful of his own blood, looked up like he still didn't understand. My blonde man, standing behind me, cold. He handed me back my bouquet like nothing had happened. Bernard on his knees in my house, watching new shoes step into view. I leaned back and let the blonde man hold me. He whispered something warm against my ear. "This is my boyfriend," I told Bernard. I didn't wait to see his face. Behind me, the blonde man lost his mind. Bernard bit down on his own knuckles. I walked. He babbled after me the whole way. Bernard tried to pull himself off the floor, his own hand shaking on his uniform crest. He smiled at me, small, defeated. I let the new boy hug my arm and kept walking. "Rachel Sia," Bernard finally hissed. 2 bodyguards blocked him from following. He smiled, ugly, certain he could still win this. Then he screamed into his phone until his throat gave out. Upstairs, a woman was already scolding him from the landing. I strolled past with the blonde man on my arm. Someone patted Bernard's shoulder with a fan. Under the blossoms, I thanked my blonde man. He answered like I was already his wife. Another blonde bowed at my door the next morning. "I'm your new assistant, Miss Shia." He handed me a phone. On the other end, a friend I hadn't heard from in years. "Take him," she laughed. "He'll keep the loneliness away." My guards flashed me an OK sign over their iced coffees. I smiled at the new blonde boy. Just for the cameras. By morning, my little sister was trending too, and the comments had turned. Gold digger, fake heiress, trash. In another room, Bernard read every word under a maid's towel. Then a hand picked up a phone. His hand. His grandfather's guard kicked it across the floor first. The old man walked in with a look I remembered, then slapped him hard enough to spin his head. Bernard sat holding his own cheek. The old man kept shouting. Then a maid whispered who I'd left on. In my car, I asked my blonde boy how he pulled it off. He was too pleased with himself to answer. I asked again. He blushed twice. His friend beside him tapped through my feed. My rotors carried us over Bernard's whole world. He didn't get to look up and see me leaving. Elsewhere, another man was giving orders about me. His men on their phones, his car quiet. He heard about Bernard while stuck in traffic, and smirked. He'd been waiting for that opening. Then my name flashed on his screen. He answered before the second ring. I made him wait through the whole ride anyway. Whatever he told me made me smile. The next day, a brand tried to put me on trial. Their audience clapped along politely. The woman on stage read my name like an accusation. Her staff filmed my supposed downfall. She had my product in a glass box for the reveal. She slammed the table, angry for the cameras. Turned away like a woman who already knew she'd lost. Because under her desk, a device was recording every word. 3 men in 3 offices watched the leak together. One stared out his window and made one phone call. My follower count doubled before she got to her car. The internet went for her instead. They gave me a new title, Queen of Ray Hill. In her office, her boss slammed both hands on the desk. Her deputy smirked. He'd seen this coming. "You will apologize," he told her. In writing, a pen, a blank page, a humiliation with a header. 3 brands sent me apology letters before lunch. A stranger in an office posted them all together. Her coworkers pushed in to see. She just posted them. Publicly. All 3. Someone tapped buy before they finished reading, then tapped pay. On another screen, in another mansion, a prince was watching me too. His attendant read the news aloud behind him. Leaned in. "She's coming to your palace, sir." He smiled at my picture a long, long time. His staff started calling me the future queen. They dressed him like one too. He was so nervous meeting me a bucket fell on his head. They cleaned him up in the courtyard, leaned him on the railing while his temper cooled. Then he looked down, and I was in another man's arms. His attendant leaned in with something teasing. He answered, quiet, "Yes, I like her." Down by the fountain, I was feeding a bodyguard grapes. His whole face turned to lightning. He drew a sword, in broad daylight, over lunch. I looked at his portrait card, set it back down. He stood in the garden blushing. I finished my sentence and kept walking. Home again. My little sister was waiting on my bed. My cousin Grace was on the phone, blushing into a pillow. Somewhere, some poor executive sneezed on his laptop. Grace threw the pillow at me. My oldest friend leaned close to study my face, then said what she'd come to say, in corporate language. On the sofa, my mother folded her arms and waited. I laughed. She flinched. Then we stood side by side. Same red hair, same problem. You have to be careful now, she whispered. Outside, my guard was escorting a boy in a white cloak away. I called him back. Fine. He could stay, my sister argued. I didn't turn around. Bernard's family gathered in their living room like a wake. Bernard sat with his arms crossed, frowning. His uncle jabbed a finger at him. His little cousin cried. His phone lit up in his lap. His co-worker sighed beside him. In another wing of another mansion, another blonde was watching too. His people were being briefed. An aide begged for his life over a phone he'd bought without permission. His boss turned away. Sir, Miss Shaya has been asking about you. That's when he finally understood. The marriage his grandfather forced. The wife they threw away. Find out who she really is, he snapped. Now. A phone was handed to me under the blossoms. I looked at the number. I didn't recognize it. The blonde man beside me looked worried. A woman in another ballroom clutched her shawl and told her handlers to wait. Her escort blushed at the warning in his ear. She walked forward anyway, and left both men to watch her go. Her heel tapped once on the marble. Her assistant listened, eyes low, to the same news, then gave the order without raising her voice. Meanwhile, I was making my entrance. An old man at the bottom of my stairs stopped mid-sentence. A director was already waiting for me at the landing. I studied my own hand and remembered where it had been. He was sweating already. A snap. Every phone on his table buzzed at once. He read what came in and turned pale. Then I walked out in a different dress. Red. Bernard was on his sofa, watching the feed live. His best friend stopped scrolling. Both of them frozen. Both of them finally getting it. She's not the woman you divorced, the friend said. On the other side of the country, the prince smiled at his phone, then climbed my flower-lined staircase in person. Our shoes met on the same landing. I looked down, he looked up. He knelt, offered his hand. I took it. Somewhere, a new player was folding her hands for the cameras, her handlers waiting like she was a bomb. Another executive stormed off his call. His aide wrote, "Buy her a phone" on a clipboard. He wanted me home, personally. And the next broadcast? He asked. The contestants move into the mansion tomorrow, sir. He didn't like the sound of that. Every man chasing me. Under one roof. In his own office, another man clasped his hands and smiled. Because tomorrow, all of them were coming to me.